All right, today we're going to become communication detectives. We're going to tear apart a real argument step by step to see exactly where things go south and, more importantly, figure out how we can all do a little better. You know that feeling, right? You start off talking about something simple, but I don't know, 10 minutes later, you're not even on the same planet anymore. It's just frustrating, it gets personal, and nothing gets solved. We're going to look at exactly how that train wreck happens, moment by moment. So here's how we're going to break this down. We'll start with a basic disagreement between two people we'll call Akash and Dilon. We're going to see how a really constructive attempt to frame the debate totally derails. Then we'll do an autopsy on that bad argument. And finally, pull out the key lessons for all of us. Okay, so every fight has to start somewhere, right? A little spark. In our story, it's all about a decision to open up a hospital room that has some historical importance. A pretty specific issue, but you can already see how people could have very different feelings about it. And boom, there it is. The opening shot from Dilon. It's super simple, really direct, no fluff. He's not explaining why just yet, he's just planting his flag. This is wrong. And this is where our whole conversation kicks off. Now, this is where things get really interesting. Instead of just firing back with his own opinion, pay close attention to what Akash does. He doesn't attack Dilon's position at all. He actually takes a step back and tries to frame the whole debate by recognizing that, hey, there are two valid ways to look at this. What Akash does here is, frankly, brilliant. He shifts the whole thing from a who's right, who's wrong fight into a conversation about two competing values, symbolism versus equality. And get this. He even explains the argument for Dilon's side first, showing he actually gets it. This is a move to discuss ideas, not to win a fight. So Dilon comes back with his reasoning. And you know what? It's a decent point. He's focused on this idea of irreversibility. But notice what's missing? He completely ignores that whole equality idea that Akash just laid out. He's just doubling down on his own position. It's a classic defensive move when you feel like your values are under attack. Akash doesn't give up. He tries to build a bridge here, he hears Dilon's concern about history, and then offers up a compromise, a middle ground that could maybe honor both values. And the most important part is how he ends it. What do you think about this? That is a direct invitation to work on a solution together. Okay, brace yourselves, because this right here, this is the exact moment the whole conversation takes a nosedive. We're about to shift from talking about ideas, symbolism, and equality, and go straight into a personal attack. This is where it all goes wrong. Instead of even considering the compromise, Dilon just deflects. He attacks the entire structure of the conversation, calling it bizarre. But does he offer up any of those 1,000 sides he mentions? Nope, not one. This is a classic tactic when you feel like you're losing the argument. Stop talking about the topic and start attacking how the other person is talking. And there it is. Dilon isn't just dismissing Akash anymore, he's accusing him. He even pulls out a formal debate term, the straw man fallacy. He's basically saying Akash is a liar who's twisting his words. The discussion is officially over and the confrontation has begun. All right, let's put our detective hats back on. The conversation is officially dead. Now it's time to perform an autopsy and identify the specific tactics that were used to kill what could have been a perfectly good discussion. So Dilon threw this term out there. Let's make sure we know what it means. A straw man is when you twist your opponent's argument to make it sound weaker. So the real question for us is, did Akash actually do that? Or did he pretty accurately describe the core value of symbolism that Dilon was arguing for? See, using a term like this is a power move. It's designed to make the other person sound dishonest. Akash tries to pull the conversation back from the brink. He asks a perfectly logical question. Okay, you said there are other sides. What are they? But look at Dilon's response. It's pure deflection and a personal jab. Why should I do that now? Are you crazy? He's not trying to argue anymore. He's trying to seize control by putting Akash on the defensive. And here's the downward spiral in a nutshell. First, Dilon makes a wild accusation about AI to change the subject. Then, he deflects direct questions with insults. And finally, he just pulls the plug on the whole conversation. This is the classic playbook for how to absolutely destroy a productive argument. So why did we just watch that train wreck? Well, it's not just for the drama. It's because understanding why arguments fail is the key to making them succeed. We can learn a ton from both what Akash tried to do right and what Dilon did wrong. So what does a better path actually look like? Well, it looks a whole lot like what Akash was trying to do. First, you genuinely try to understand the other person's point of view. Then you frame the debate around the core ideas, not a personal fight. You actively look for a compromise. If you're confused, you ask questions, and above all, you keep your eyes on the ball. Talk about the idea, not the person. And these? Think of these as the big, flashing red flags. The moment you see these tactics pop up, you know the discussion is off track. When someone starts blaming, insulting, dodging questions, or making accusations without proof, their goal isn't to find a solution anymore. Their goal has become to win, usually because, deep down, they're afraid of being wrong. So at the end of the day, it really all comes down to a choice. In any disagreement, we have a choice. We can be an Akash, someone who tries to understand, to build a bridge and find a solution, or we can be a Dilon, someone who attacks, who deflects, and who just shuts the conversation down. The choice you make is what separates a real discussion from just another fight.